African elephants are the world's largest land animals, but they are no match for poachers, and they could be headed for extinction. Tens of thousands of these already endangered animals are killed each year for their tasks. One man, a Kenyan conservation activist, is standing up for these creatures. He has just wrapped up a 900-kilometer walk in the United States from Boston to Washington to raise awareness for African elephant poaching. Here's viewers Pam Dockins.
Jim NYAMU is a man on a mission. With his Kenyan flag in hand, he has spent the past month walking through the northeastern United States.
One day they will be extinct, as we see they are many.
Along the way, he stops to tell people how a growing demand for elephant ivory, especially in Asia, has fueled an increase in poaching that could drive some elephant populations to extinction. And NYAMU says many Americans are not aware of the severity of the problem.
Many people would ask me the same questions. We as Americans, how should we be bothered by poaching which is happening? And I will still take back to that America, you are still second leading consumer of ivory.
After arriving in Washington on Tuesday, NYAMU made a 3-mile trek on foot to American University, where he spoke to students about the plight of the elephants.
Conservation in Kenya, for them that have been, studying the conservation dynamic.
NYAMU says one of the challenges he encounters is that people often see and admire products made from ivory without associating them with the elephant's demise. He says people often do not realize that when poachers cut off the elephant's ivory tusks, the animals usually die. The World Wildlife Fund says nearly 100 elephants are killed every day in Africa illegally by poachers. CRAWFORD ALLAN heads the group's North American office for its International Wildlife Trade Monitoring Program. He says poaching has been particularly devastating for a subspecies known as the forest elephant.
Over the past 10 years, they have lost about 50% of the elephants in the forests of Africa. And therefore, in the next 10 years, there is a potential that all forest elephants will be gone completely. That whole subspecies would be gone, leaving the savanna elephants only in the rest of East and Southern Africa.
ALLAN says poaching is a massive challenge for African nations. He says rangers are often underfunded, poorly trained, and lack the equipment they need to cover vast swaths of land in order to protect elephant populations.
You are looking for the needle in the haystack, literally, a lot of the times. Elephants are big animals, but actually in a huge landscape, they're very, very small to find and detect, and so are people. And so it's very, very hard to protect those animals.
He also says conservation groups believe poaching is being driven by organized criminal syndicates that are working transnationally and globally. As for Jim NYAMU, he says his foot campaign to raise awareness about poaching will not end in Washington. He has planned a walk along the U.S. West Coast as well as one in China. Pam Dockins, VOA News, Washington.
Well, Mr. NYAMU will also be participating in Friday's International March for Elephants here in Washington. This includes simultaneous marches in about 30 cities around the world to draw attention to the elephant's plight.